Greetings fellow ukuleleans, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new ukulele tutorial. I'd like to continue our discussion of chord workouts using very common chord progressions. That chord progression I was just playing actually comes from a song. It's from the old 70s tune called It Never Rains in Southern California. It really illustrates a chord progression I'd like to talk about today called the 2-5-1. And the 2-5-1 uses the second chord of the key, in this case we're in C, and so I use D minor, uses the fifth chord of the key, which is G, and the first chord of the key, the 1 chord, which is C, home bass, if you will, or the root, or the tonic. So those three chords, D minor, going to G, going to C, they form one of the most common chord progressions in all of Western music, the 2-5-1. It's a staple of pop music, it's a staple of jazz, it's a staple of classical music. It's all over the place. And another thing you can know about this chord progression is it's a cadence. It has a chord that's kind of at rest. It doesn't really sound like it needs to move anywhere. It's pretty stable. Going to a chord that definitely sounds like it needs to go somewhere. And resolve. And it finally does resolve to the 1 chord, the natural, logical place for it to progress. So that's also known as a cadence. So the 2-5-1 progression, if you were to work out on that on your ukulele, you would get pretty good at chords. So you can use songs. There are many songs that are examples. This is just one. Happened to be one that I chose. It's not the most well-known. But, of course, you have My Sweet Lord by George Harrison. That was a pretty famous tune. He even got sued for having that song be a little too close to He's So Fine by the Crystals. So that's kind of interesting. And then you had Hole in My Life. That was the Police back in the 80s. Oye Como Va and Evil Ways, both Santana tunes. 2-5 chord progressions. Not always going to the 1. Sometimes it's just a vamp. It's repeating over and over the 2 and the 5 chord. Lady Marmelade by LaBelle. Good example of it's the 2 chord and the 5 chord, but they never go to the 1 chord. And that's a common phenomenon where you just have the 2 and 5 chords repeat over and over. Pink Floyd did that in their song Great Gig in the Sky from Dark Side of the Moon. It just goes over and over. It's a vamp. All right, millions of other examples too. I will leave probably some links down below so you can access YouTube videos of some of these examples so you can hear them for yourself. And then on my Patreon page, which I will leave an additional link to down below, you'll be able to access all the chord exercises I'm about to explain, chord diagrams, and direct links to song sheets that you can follow to learn any of these songs that we might reference today. All right, let's get right into it then. We're going to do some 2-5s and some 2-5-1s. And one tune that I have to mention before I do is Satin Doll by Duke Ellington. That's full of them. Of course, many of you know Autumn Leaves too. So this is a jazz thing too. It's not just 1970s obscure pop tunes. It's all kinds of music. All right, so if we're going to take the key of C and do our D minor to G to C chord progression, we could give D minor 4 beats. Could give G 4 beats. And give C 8 beats. Like the tune I played at the beginning, that Southern California tune. Could use a strum similar to that. Down, 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 up, down, if you want to keep it simple. And then let's speed that up. Let's make that more challenging by making the D minor only 2 beats, the G only 2 beats, and then the C for 4 beats, like this. Which is how you hear it in a lot of tunes. Welcome Back Kotter, that theme song that John Sebastian wrote for that Love and Spoonful guy. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm obviously going through a 70s nostalgia trip lately, so a lot of these references are to the 70s. But we could go back further. We could look at the Beatles. The Beatles have some incredible examples of 2/5s and 2/5/1s. One possible example we could talk about is If I Fell, that beautiful, beautiful ballad, If I Fell. In the bridge of that song, at the very end, they go, just holding hands, if I... So the E minor going to A, or E minor 7 going to A7, that's a 2/5, and it actually resolves to D, the 1 chord, the key that that song's in. Just holding hands, if only I could hit those notes with my voice. They were incredible singers, Lennon and McCartney and George Harrison. So that's the If I Fell bridge, and then the Beatles have lots of other examples too. Let's get more into our exercises. Let's speed things up even more in the key of C. Let's stick with our D minor, our G chord, and our C chord. Let's do 1 strum of D minor, 1 strum of G, and 2 strums of C. That'll be all 3 chords in a single measure of 4/4 time. Pretty quick. Way more challenging.